Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and hi to all students. Today we will continue our lecture on the topic of Introduction to a Research Proposal, Chapter 1, where we will cover for scope of study, definition, operational, limitation of study, significance of study, and also the conclusion. Right. So let's continue with the slide of 24. Scope of study. The scope of a study explains the extent to which or research area will be explored, right, in the work, and specify the parameter within the study will be operating. Basically, this means that you will have to define what the study is going to cover and what is focusing on. What will you study? What is the issue? Right? Similarly, you also have to define what the study is going to cover. Right? This will come under the limitation as well. Generally, the scope of the research paper is followed by limitation. Right? So, as a researcher, you have to be careful when you define your scope or area of focus. Remember that if you broaden the scope too much, you might not be able to do justice to the work, or it might take a long time to complete because the focus is too broad. Consider the feasibility of your work before you write down the scope. Again, if your scope is too narrow, again, the finding might be generalizable. Or in other words, your finding might not be significant. Typically, the information that you need to include in the scope would be covered by the general purpose of the study, the population of sample that you study, maybe the your population of sample differ with other study, with the previous study, the duration of the study. For example, if you use the time series data, maybe you will be covered during the crisis, before crisis, and the topic or theory that you will be discussed may be different, and also the geographical location covered in the study. That this term of 5 type of scope will make your study unique. Okay, now let's continue with 1.9, that is definition operational. And operational definition is a statement of procedure that research is going to use in order to measure a specific variable. This subsection is also covered in chapter 1 of the thesis. This part must be covered all variable or instrument used in the thesis. If the variable need to use specific formula, so it must be stated here. If the variable used in your studies same as other studies, so you must state the other article that same with you. Specify the proxy of the variable if related. For example, if you want to study about action rate, what kind of data do you use? Is it RER or NER or RER? Real effective action rate, nominal action rate, or real action rate. You must specify in this section. 1.10, that is the limitation of study. The limitation of the study are its flow or shortcoming, which should be the result of inability of resources, small sample size, flow methodology, etc. No study is completely flawless or inclusive of all possible aspects. Therefore, listing the limitation of your study reflects honesty and transparency, and also show that you have complete understanding of the topic. in simple terms, the significance of the study is basically the importance of your research. The significance of the study must be stated in the introduction section of your paper, meaning in chapter 1. While stating the significance, you must highlight how your research will be beneficial to the development of science and the society in general, or in the related field. Okay. Right. Let's continue. Significance of study. You can first outline the significance in the broad sense by stating how your research will contribute to the broader problem in your field, and gradually narrow it down to demonstrate the specific group that will benefit from your research. And while writing the significance of your study, you must answer the following, like why should you study? Okay, why you should research publish, and how will this study contribute to the development of the field. Right. Okay. Usually the significance of studies subsection is located chapter 1 of the thesis. The length of this section is around 1 to 2 pages only, depends on the significance of the study to the country, society, certain population, government policies of other. Alright. So conclusion, usually the conclusion will be the sum of the first chapter, and is also explain what in the next chapter. There is a chapter 2. What will be in chapter 2 should be explained in conclusion in the brief explanation only, not in detail. So thank you very much for watching and listening to this lecture. I hope this will help you what should be in chapter 1 from the beginning to the end. In overall, if you want to conclude that in chapter 1 we have 12 subsections from the beginning. Okay, as we can see here. Okay, introduction in chapter 1 will be include introduction, research background, problem statement, conceptual framework, research question, research objective, hypothesis, and scope of study, definition of rationale, limitation of study, significance of study, and conclusion. The good thesis will have all this information in the chapter 1. So it will help the examiner or your reader to understand what the issue and what is the contribution of the study is very vital. So you have to thoroughly explain in your chapter 1. And please remember, from 1.1 to 1.12, there must be coherency. It must be related between each subsection. Okay, good luck. I wish to everybody in preparing your chapter 1 for this semester. And also good luck for your final paper, research paper in your next semester. I hope this slide will help you a lot in preparing your first chapter for your thesis. Okay, thank you.